So let's start the session on the total quality management and the topic from the module number 4. It is the vendor selection. Okay. How we select the vendor, what is the need of selection of the vendor is very important because all the industries they require the supplier. We call vendor means what the supplier. Okay. A supply anything. It might be the equipment, it might be the parts, components, it might be the raw material, anything. So we need a supplier. We are not a single person for do each and everything. Okay. So yes, for that one we need the supplier who is supply the raw material, semi-finished product. Okay. The components, equipments, instruments, many things are there. Okay. When we are talking about the manufacturing industry or service industry too. Sorry. So, what is the process for selection of this vendor? The vendor we call it is a partner. Why we call a partner? Because the supplier or the vendor are interconnected with the manufacturing company or the service company who is provide this the service or the product to the customers. The real use of the customer who is using that product. Okay, it might be the service, it might be the product, anything. So let's take this selection process for it. What is the following the process that is need to be checked before selecting the supplier? Now, how we select a partner? Because many times we are dependent on that supplier, that vendor, and the quality purpose. As we are talking about a quality management, a total quality management. Here, the quality of the raw material, which is be used for making the product. Okay. So let's take the few things which is be here by selection of the supplier. And before that, let us talk about why we are selecting this supplier. The reason behind it, everything is not possible for a single company to manufacture the each and everything. It is not possible to get all the equipments be in a home, means in that industry itself. Okay. So we need a help from the other parties. Okay, and there are the different vendors for a single company. It is not say a single one. We are not depend on the single supplier even for a raw material too. There may be the different suppliers for the raw material. Depend on what is our strategy, what is our plan of our company, and many things. So one is the criticality of an atom. Now, what is this criticality of the atom? It means the raw material or the semi-finished product which is there. We are not concentrating on the okay, so we are not concentrate only on the semi-finished product or the product. So many times what happen, we are focusing on the product what we are manufactured, the end product. Okay, and which is be used and we directly given to the customers, the end user customer. Now, when we are focusing on this one, the raw material which is required, it may have the very lengthy process, it may have the very vast process, and technically we are not that much good for making that product. So what we do, we are because of that the critical things in it, we are interested to buy a product. Okay, we are interested to take a survey. Just like for example, uh, let's take that when in a we want to paint our home. When we want to paint a home, for that one either we buy the paint and buy the brushes and all, and then we paint ourselves. That is the one thing. The second thing is that many times what happened, many times what happened, we are giving the we take the service from the other provider who is providing the service for painting the home. Okay, the case is that either we are not expert to make do the painting. Okay, to the home, that is one thing. We don't have that much knowledge, we don't have the time. Okay, And as we have the money, then we will, what we do, we are just buy the service for doing that part. Okay, so that is the one thing. Another is technical knowledge of the supplier. So many times the product which we want, not necessary we are a technically firm for that product. Okay, so technical knowledge is not that much, so we are dependent on the supplier who is supplying that particular product, as he is very well known, very aware about that product. Financial capability, this is the another point. Financial capability in that case, say if you are making the unit of more, not more than the 100 per day. Say for example, you are making a fan. Okay, so you are making the fan with 100 unit per month, and yes, for that one you require a capacitor. Now, is it a good for me to making a capacitor? I have to start a plant of making a capacitor, and once I make the capacitor, then after that one I will put it into the fan, and then the fan get work. No, as for that one, for doing this factory of making the capacitor is not the financially feasible things, because we are only making the 100 unit per month. So what we do, we are just importing the things. We are just ask the vendors, ask the suppliers to give the product, the raw material for making the fan, and that can be used. So financially, we doesn't have that much burden just because of making a single component. And you know that for a fans, maybe there is a 5 6 components required, and for each and every component, it is not possible to manufacture in our own industry. Okay, otherwise we will have the more expenses on it, extra burdens on the investment and minimum. Management commitment, this is the one thing many times we are dependent on the others one, because there is a the chain, there is a the the single company may have the different units, and they are making the different product too. And yes, there is a tie-up between these two companies because of the commitment by the management. So we are just taking the help from that vendor and the partners. Specialization is the one of the things. Commitment to delivery, readiness to exchange information. Now, how to select in that one? Another case that we are talking is how the technically feasible that supplier is important part. How the financial capability of that particular vendor or the supplier is, again we need to check it, because many times if the financially weak the company may not be give you the proper supply, because many times there may be the financial crisis, and because of that one they will stop the supplying the raw material or the components too. Then specialization, here the company is only single product they are manufacturing. Okay, so they are the expert in the making that product. Okay, so we approach to that vendor, we approach to that supplier who is good, having a lot experience in making the product. Okay, the product means what we call that is a semi product, or the semi finished product which is required for us. Commitment to delivery, again we need to check while selection of the partner. Commitment to delivery, because on the time is very very important. The supply of a product on time is very important. If your raw material or the semi finished product or any component, if it is not reached on the time, then it will be it is losses in a business. It may be losses, because on time you may not be finish your product, and you may not be sold in the market. And if that the particular span or the time period is over, then there is no value of your product. Just like for making lamps in a Diwali season, we know that in India the biggest festival is the Diwali. Okay, so in that case, if you are making a lamp, and if the person who is providing some raw materials, say wires required for making the lamps, and if he is not provide you on the time, then what happened? Your product may be delayed in the market, and almost all the other competitors may be launch their product in the market, and you may not have a chance because you are late in that for selling or supplying the your product in the market. So here the commitment of delivery that need to check of that vendor. Readiness to exchange the information. This is again the very important. When you are doing a contract between the vendor and us means the industry who is taking the product or taking the semi product. Okay, so exchange of information is very very important for the quality purpose, because whatever be the design that you are giving, whatever be the size that you are giving, okay, let us freely talk about the things, because many times the technical things we do not know. Just like as I gave the example of the capacitor, if I am making a fan with a say 60 watt the watt current, and some sizes are mentioned, and for that one what is the capacitor size that I need. So particularly, I am saying that the diameter or the length of this capacitor will be this size, and the whatever be the components means in terms of the volt, in terms of the current, or in terms of the hertz, whatever be the unit of that particular capacitor. Is it made on the same way or it is in a different way? That is the one thing. Okay, so continuously there is an exchange of information is very very important to the supplier and the person who is taking the, or the industry who is taking the product from the supplier or the vendor. Because if they are not exchanging the ideas, or if they are just hiding certain part, then may not be you are improvising the quality. It means either they are not ready to expose the whatever be the research what they had in their product, and maybe there may be the certain problems that is faced just because of that changes in that product by you. So there is a freely exchange of information between the supplier and vendor is important, and that maybe takes place while doing the contract. So freely they have to exchange the ideas, as well as if the vendor is supplying a same product for the different competitors, then whatever be the information what the industry, that means we are giving to the vendor, he will not be leaked to the competitor too, because many times it is our strength of that product. Okay, so this is the important. So these are the certain points we need to think before selection of the partner. Another point is that uses of statistical techniques, has a good track record, and has a certified quality management system. Now the one is has a good track record means when we are dealing the deals with these vendors and supplier from last for a long period of time, and yes, the record is very good. Track record means whatever be the initial days, whatever the experience that we had with that vendor, it might be the very good. He will be he supplied the product on time with a good quality, no problem. There is no need to again to recheck the product. Okay, so everything is there, and for that one we can say okay, it is the track record is very good. Or even certain times it might be feel like say we are a new for the vendor is new for us, but when we see the other competitors, and when they are providing the product which they had, that time might be that record is very good. We are looking for that one, how he supplied, what is the price, what is the quality, and many more things which is be there. And if it is that track record is good, then definitely we will select such a vendor for our company. Has certified quality management system. Now this is again important, because the one product may be manufactured by the different companies. For example, say a battery. The battery is required for a mobile. Now battery is made by the different companies. But now what is the quality? Certified is very very important. In that one we call it is ISO 9000, a quality. If you want a good quality product to be given to give to the customer, end customer, or end user we call. So for that one we need a good quality component too. If we do not have a good quality component, then our whatever the last finished product may not be good performing. So see the company when we are selecting the vendor, when we are selecting the partner, that time you select see the certification, what the certificate they had. Okay, and on that basis also we can check and we can select the vendor too. Okay, now let's talk about a supplier certification. What is supplier certification? Supplier certification means it may be say it is a ISO. ISO is the standards for the quality and the other purposes are mentioned. Okay, we are talking about ISO 9000, that is for the quality purpose. Now certification, it means the registration. Are they legally do the business? One thing, registration is important. Then the certificate about the quality of the product on the basis of what the product they are supplying to you. Okay, just like if it is a food company, if they are supplying the food product, a raw food product, then we know that AFSSI certification is very very important. Quality you need to check it. Okay, and properly what are the components be there. There should not be any harmful component to be as a preserver be there. Okay, so all these things we need to check, and for that we get a certification from the FSSI. That is for the food. Same if you want to talk about the quality, then ISO 9000 is the one of the quality certificate. Okay, so are they applied for that one, and they will get a certificate. Trademark is there. Okay, are they apply for the trademark? Does they have the trademark? Now these are the certain things that we always check. Even when we are buying any product in the market, we always see the ISI, whether it is ISI mark or not, because that certification give you a quality of a product. When there is a ISI mark one, if let's for example you are buying a say a water bottle. A water bottle is the mineral water bottle we can call. Okay, it may be the Bisleri, it may be the Kinley or many more. Now when you buy up the Kinley water bottle or Bisleri water bottle, you see there is a ISI mark is mentioned. In the square one, there is mentioned the ISI. But when you buy the same water bottle from the local market, okay, and you see there is no ISI. So from that one, we can easily understood that the bottle which we are buying from the Bisleri or Kinley, they have the ISI. Is the certification is there about a quality. But when we buy another who do not have that ISI, it means they are not apply for the ISI one thing. Means the quality may be the compromise, because there is no watch. In ISI there is a watch. Okay, and that's why we always prepare that one, that product ISI mark. Many times we might see when we are taking the electrical appliances, we always ask to the retailer, does it have a ISI mark or not? Okay, so this is we call a certification. So it is a concept wherein the supplier is certified by the buyer to supply the materials to the buyer at a point of use at the right time. This is one thing. The buyer will not be inspect the material at his end. So if you get a product which is already certified, is it necessary for you to again recheck it? Then definitely not. Because once I say the qualified, the certified product that I'm buying, so there is no, just like for the winding or for the wiring, I'm using the ISI mark the wires for making this fan. So there is no need to cross check it again. What is the size of the wire? Does they have the copper wires or they have the mix in one? Because it is already given ISI mark. So no need to check it by the end user. One thing. It is responsibility of the supplier to supply the good quality material in full quantity at the right time to the point use. So this is again one of the thing that they have. And for that one also they are giving say we are deliver your product within a given time. Even when you are buying the product from the Amazon or Flipkart or many other companies who are selling the product. Okay, that time they say you get a delivery on up to this date. So what that is the standard, and as because they have that supply chain with them, they know that when the product will get to the consumer. Okay, the condition are such that there should have been no rejection at all for the long time. Now the certification is again it is very important, because many times when we have the certified product, there is no rejection. So when we uh, think from the vendor's point of view, they do not want any rejection of their product. One thing, and for that one, they always try to maintain a quality. And on the other end, the manufacturer who is buying the product from the supplier, he know that the quality of it, so there is no chances of the rejection. So, and if this is the process is continuous one for a long period of time, then they have the trust to each other and they say, okay, the product is all the times it is a good quality, so there is no need to cross check it again. And this will be the impact of the certification. The another point, supplier involvement. Now, what is supplier involvement? Now, in the vendor selection, we need to again recheck the supplier involvement. In the supplier involvement, we can say whatever be our vision or objective of making a product, he should be interested in that one. His vision, supplier vision, is also the same what our vision for end user customer. So it is involved, the supplier is involved with the buyer from early stage of a product and component development, and is able to contribute to develop the component or a part and supply the same in a good quality. Now, for example, let's say you maybe have auto making sectors. You see there is a number of bikes, number of mopeds, cars are manufacturing, and every day they might have some different product launch in the market. Now they require the component when they are change the design from say as for example say Activa. So they started with a simple name Activa. Okay, then they have launches the 3G Activa, 4G Activa. Now it might be 5G or 6G, I don't know. But yes, what is these are the updation of the moped by a Honda in that the product which is the Activa, and they are giving the names, even change the name. But are they only changing the name? No. In the same way, they make a certain changes in their component, in that product. Some part the component it might be changed. Though we are looking on the outside one, yes, there is a two tires, one engine, one seat, handle, mirror, speedometer, many things are there, and we see it is what is the difference between these two, but there is a small difference maybe there. Okay, the small changes is there, and that product what they develop in their laboratory, in their R&D department. And yes, say for that, say a small component of the engine they change. Now when they are changing that component, because they are not making the component, somebody else will be supply that component. So when this they are discussing, the supplier and the company who is buying the product from the supplier, and as the company doing the R&D on that one, a product change, and the same product is manufactured by the supplier because the everything is given by industry or manufacturer to the supplier. So there is the interest of that supplier, there is the involvement of the supplier while making the component. Okay, maybe sometimes we might be say that yes, in R&D it is okay. The component what you make in R&D will be very good, but it is very difficult to make in a bulk quantity. That may be the possibility. So for the involvement of the supplier is very important. Trust and commitment. This is another factor that we need to check it in vendors selection and partnership between this. The supplier and the buyer will enjoy so much confidence between themselves that each of them work behind the contract. A trust and commitment is very important. Once you commit it, then there will be the trust. So if you committed that yes, this is the quality of the product and you will get this this time, and if you what you committed and on the same day the product delivered, and the quality what you have discussed in a meeting, a same quality product that you have supplied to the manufacturer, then manufacturer is trust on you, on the vendor. At the same time, whatever be the commitment by a manufacturer that once you we got a delivery your product component, then in the next day or in a week I will provide you, or I will sanction the amount, or I will sanction the bill. And if the same thing is happened, then both the parties, either it might be the vendor or it might be this the manufacturer. Both are very happy because the manufacturer got a good quality product with on time. At the same time, the supplier who is supplying the product, because initially they have certain inventory on it, they have lots of amount they are invested for it, and so they will get the amount after getting a finished product within a 1 week. So they are happy. So this is what a commitment and trust on between these two parties. They help each other on developing superior product and service. Now, just by making a product on each year, every year with the same product, no, there is need a certain development. And yes, both the parties, it may be the supplier or it may be the manufacturer, both if they are developing the product with a superior quality, it is good for in them. The supplier will be supplying similar material to the other buyers. He should keep the design of each buyer as a secret. Another thing, as I said, even the previous slide, that yes, the same supplier may have the same product for the different industries, for the different manufacturer. Now, the product which you manufacture for A manufacturer and the product which you are manufacturer for the B manufacturer, okay, by the supplier. There is the secret in this one, because if the same component is manufactured but a slightly change in design, so there should be a secret and it is as it is to the supplier. In between the supplier and manufacturer, there should not be any disclose of this designing, this sizing from the sub manufacturer A to the manufacturer B with the help of the supplier. No, the supplier should secret the things, because there should not be any leakage, there should not be any disclose of that secret to the competitor. Otherwise, there is no trust on you. And yes, they may be cancel your order too. So here, that things to be very keep in mind, because in last lecture I gave the example of the TVS. So TVS is the company who is supplying the component of the automobile. It may be supplied to the Hyundai, it may be supplied to the Suzuki, Maruti Suzuki too. So they always keep a secret of that one, because they are the manufacturer. Supplier is what? They are manufacturing, they are supplying the product to the different two competitors. And if they disclose the things with the competitors, then the competitors may not be trust on them. And maybe they withdraw all their product or the components from them and they are cancel the orders and all. Okay. So this is the one thing we call it is comes under the trust and commitment. Cross-functional team. Now, what is the cross-functional team? So these are the some component that we are looking in the vendor selection. It is a cross-functional teams. What is this cross-functional teams? The supplier is a part of the team formed by a buyer for sorting out and for improving and ongoing problems related to the product. One thing. The second point, the exchange of information in timely manner so that the end user get benefited. A cross-functional teams means what? There is the helping between these two people, because many times say the one manufacturer company A who is manufacture the product and sell into the market, but the end user may have certain problems they face, and when they found and then say okay, the one of the component which is being in that product, uh, that will be a damage just because of the certain quality. So they exchange this part with the supplier who is supply the product component, and they discuss with each other about this the problem, how to solve this problem, because many times maybe certain parts maybe or that batch maybe have the problem. Even you might be read the news that many car makers who just uh, back their cars in the showrooms, back their cars in the dealership, just because of the one of the batch having the certain problems, and they are replacing with a free of cost that come the part which is be the problematic, they replace with a free of cost for that particular batch. And that is just because they found that there is a certain drawbacks in that component and many cars having the problem. So what they do, they might be see that yes, the whole batch may have the problem, and because of that component which is be the part which is fitted in that car, all other cars may have the facing the same problem. So what they do in advance, by getting that one, they just replace it. Okay, and that can be happen just because of the exchange of information between this. So supplier, we the manufacturer told to the supplier that says these are the things that happen with your batch, so you need to improvise that one. So that after that next batch when they are manufactured, that time that defects may not be there. So they will solve, they solve that defect. Okay, a long-term relationship is very important. To build up a long-term relationship, it is the trust and commitment is important. Okay, and yes, if the both the parties, which may be the buyer and the supplier, okay, they will work together for a long period of time, then there will be a trust on it. Okay, so the buyer and supplier should work such that they maintain a healthy relationship with each other. They contribute to each other, each one's growth. They work together to ensure that problems are sorted out. It is a dispute resolution ensure the justice to both the parties. The long-term relationship, one thing is what, when they know to each other that we are dependent on each other. If one of the party grow, then we will grow, otherwise we will not grow. So the manufacturer who is manufacturing the product, which is be selling for the end user, and the supplier will supply the component or the raw material to the manufacturer. Now, if the raw supplier who is maintain the quality, then only the product get in a good quality. If the supplier say, okay, now I got a good contract and there is a good healthy relationship, now I do compromise with the quality so that I will get a more benefit from it. But if that is the happen, then what is the problem? The problem is to the manufacturer. He may not have a good quality product manufactured, and when that product gets sale in the market and when the damage is there to that company who is manufacturing the product, ultimately what is the impact? The impact is what? Their sale goes down, and when the sale goes down, ultimately the supplier who is supplying the component, their sale also goes down just because of quality of it. So there should not be any compromisation. So let's think the both the parties that yes, it is the growth is dependent on each other. Okay, the work behind the contract, it means that many times what happens, some problems may be there, so you do not stick on the contract. So just like for the supplier who is supplying, sorry, the contractor, the manufacturer, sorry, manufacturer who manufacturing the product, and just because of the in a certain month or certain year, their product, the sales goes down. So when he asked to the supplier, now do not supply this much quantity because our sale goes down. So that time, rather than we are saying no, 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 now you already say that per month you need to supply this one, we have manufactured and all. In certain cases, you need to compromise yourself, okay, so that the growth between the both the parties be there. In certain situation, maybe sometimes this manufacturer need extra component. So then again, the company should ready for it to supplying that part within a given time with a good quality. Okay, and whatever be the disputes be there, that should be clearly just to resolve it is important in the supplier and manufacturer one. Okay, so this is about long-term relationship. Supplier rating. This is the internal part of it when we are taking the product from different suppliers. Okay, that time always we have a rating and we say that the supplier A and supplier B for a manufacturing company. Now always they look what is the quality and the prices of the supplier A and supplier B. And yes, we give the rating for it, and accordingly we are change the quantity of the product from them. Okay, so supplier are rated periodically by the buyers to know the status of the supplier with respect to his manufacturing performance. Like line rejections, process control equipments, available supply rejection, penalties paid, PPM deductions, resource sourcing patterns, etc. So yes, we are period though we are trusted on them, but still we need to have a rating on it. And if with the good rating, we will give a more order. If it is a bad rating, we will give the less order. Okay, and accordingly the companies are working. So supply performance like an on-time delivery, lead time, full quantity delivery, and many more. So it is rating is depend on what the product they are buying from the seller, and the supplier supplying the product to the manufacturer. Okay, so it is depend on the time delivery. This is very very important to any industries. Time is very very important. On time delivery is important. Okay, so on that basis, they are classified. So they are graded on the basis of A, B, and C class supplier. Okay. So those who are the A class, definitely there is no need to cross check. We directly use their product. B and C, we need to have some cross check their product, see the quality of the product, and we need to have more watch on them. Okay. So that can be happen upon according to the component and inspection level. On the basis of that one, they just have rating the A,